A very, very warm good evening. This is Arunava Chaudhuri. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot, and it's another Indian football discussion on this channel. To talk about what all is happening or not happening or should be happening within Indian football. And at the start of this live, as always, if you're liking the conversation, if you're liking what we're talking about, do leave a like behind. Share with other people to potentially join us or even listen to this. And if you aren't, do become a subscriber to the channel. We are growing slowly. We're at 3,426 subscribers. So thank you, everybody. And those who were there earlier today saw that East Bengal did everything they could, lost only 2-0 in their AFC Women's Champions League encounter against Wuhan Jiangda. Good result, 0-2 for East Bengal, because afterwards we saw that Bam Khatun scored a 1-0 victory against Nasaf FC, meaning that East Bengal remains second for the moment behind Wuhan Jiangda with 3 points. Saradidar with the goal for Bam Khatun, while Wuhan Jiangda, Wang Shuang scored in the 8th minute and then in the 17th minute through a penalty. Hi, मैं सबसे पहले आया. Thanks, Ashish. कैसे हो आप, sir? I'm good overall. Indian football team up Junjuna, but that's the question. Ashish, it's disappointing to say the least. It is shocking on the other side, but again, where do we go from here? This is hi, ADI. For the Indian team, again, the question of the rebuild that has been put into the room is one key element that has to be looked at. But how is going to be, in my opinion, the big question. How is the Indian team rebuilt? Who is rebuilt? And it needs to be strategic and needs to be understood, because one thing, if people like it or not, and I've said this now multiple times, if we think that the under-23s are going to be the way forward for this moment to rectify what is happening in the senior national team, that is not going to happen. Players that I have actually rated, be it McCarthan Nixon, be it earlier on Ayush Chetri, have failed in this team. I am not one of these Mohamed Sanan fanboys who were convinced that he played brilliantly in the 20 minutes, and I've said this again and again, and I've even had some discussions here on my video yesterday post-match where I clearly stated that I didn't think it was that what people thought. I think, one-trick player at the moment, Mohamed Sanan, if he wants to be, or forget him, all our wingers, all our wingers have that problem. Liston Colasso has that problem. Romeo Fernandez had that problem in the past. There needs to be more if you want to be successful in international football. And I think we need a mentality shift. I think that's the whole thing, the mindset mentality in the team, because in my opinion, that's another big problem that the Indian national football team, the way they played. Look at Bangladesh. Bangladesh, I have to give them the respect for the mentality that they showed, because I felt after 65, 70 minutes, watch the live, watch along again. Bangladesh were tiring. Bangladesh, overpaced, I felt early on, and they were forced to try and stay in that game, and it didn't work for them. It didn't work for them, and they were struggling. But they stayed in there while we didn't show any character, and that's, in my opinion, a very big problem, which you have to say. It's for me, it's something which I can't understand, and that's the mentality aspect of this. And the other thing is Khalid Jamil. Sorry, I said that from the start. I don't think Khalid Jamil is the right coach for this team. I still believe that more than ever, that Khalid is not the right coach, and he's shown it, because as good or as bad as our team is, however we want to rate it, our team is not the best, but our team is also not the worst. in the last 20 minutes against Bangladesh, you should have the tools, the capabilities to break down Bangladesh and at least get a 1-1 and go home with a 1-1. That should have at least been possible in Dhaka a couple of days back. It wasn't. So if you tell me now, those are the basics, and now you have to figure out what you do. I said that after the Singapore match, yes, you can do a rebuild, but your rebuild needs to be smart, because you have to think mid-term before you think long-term, because you also have to think short-term, because if you don't get results, the criticism will grow even further. All those people are still saying, I'm fine, bring in younger players, give them a chance. No, they won't, right? And to me, that's a very, very important thing. And to me, as I said, I think you need to try and build a spine. Gurpreet from me stays, so let's wait and see what are the next steps and whatever happens. But to me, those are some of the things that need to be taken, and we need to be realistic. Hi, Orithro. If the government does not invest in a sport, how will a sport grow? Our government needs to understand this. No, Orithro, I don't think so. I don't think that sports is a priority for the government first. They say it is. But if I see the investments, or if I see how and what the government has done, or what Indian governments have done over the last 26, 27, 28 years that I am involved, yeah. So to me, that then means your focus isn't there. So the question is that then, sorry, just disappeared. So the priority is not there for the government to push sport. Sports as such is not a priority for them. And then it is on the National Federation, it is then on the private industry to push the product. So therefore, that's the thing. Konnichiwa, Kuku, good evening as well to you. Kuku answering Orithro says priority matters, bro. They have other things to focus on. If you put money into sports, where can they get the money to give people 10,000 rupees for elections? Yeah. Is Khalid Jamil should try as much younger players than Martin plus Ryan Williams? Krishna, the question is, how do I rebuild? The first question is, does Khalid Jamil, right? And that is, that's the first question. And the rebuild has to be smart. If I'm going to bank on young, listen, we need to understand we have a quality problem. Starting at the top with the senior level players, right? And the under 23s, let's wake up from this la la land, delulu, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the people have taken. Is it medicines? Is it drugs? Is it, I don't know what, alcohol or whatever? Let's wake people up and come back to reality. If you put our under 23s and they would have played in Dhaka, they would have gone down under, and then the conversation would be a different one, right? They're not ready for that. There are the ones where I would have thought, okay, they look to be good. They're struggling even in the under 23s. Weren't we looking at the team 2.5 years ago, and people after a very good start in the ISL, Parthiv Gogoi should have been part of it? How good did Parthiv Gogoi play for the under 23s? Consistency is a factor. They play 2-3 good matches and then you want to push them to the next level. I don't think Khalid is the guy for the reset. So according to you, who should be the one we build this team with, considering budget issues to get a foreign coach? RRC game, I think there are enough coaches who would come within your budget who would be better than Khalid Jamil and who are foreign, right? That's a fact. So to me, that should not be the question. The question is, who do we want to approach? Do we say, listen, Stephen, sorry, we should have taken you, we didn't take you, but we would like you now? Would you go, let's say, to a senior Habas, yeah, someone who no nonsense, and say, Senior Habas, would you be willing to take this team over and help us in this very difficult situation? Those are, let's say, those would be amongst my top candidates to say, listen, international experience, know their stuff, can do their stuff. So therefore, for me, yeah, that's going to be the key. So for me, Senor Habas is one guy where I would say, you know what, yeah, your experience is needed. And otherwise we have to see. We would have to see in the market who could be, would be, should be available, and then we can think about, um, who could be an option for us for this team, right? Is this true? AIFF only pay 1,500 to 2,000 per day? Yes, Krishna, because national teams are not teams that you pay money for. You earn your money at club level. National team normally is just is sort of an appearance fee. That you come there. You don't get paid in lakhs and crores for national teams around the world. Only when you qualify for big tournaments, and then you can work out, if you qualify, let's say for Nation Cup or a World Cup, you work out something with the federation, and then according to your success in those tournaments, you could get fees from there. Good evening, Zoravar. Welcome back. Governor does not care about football. That is what Krishna is saying, and I would agree, sadly. Dada, what do you think about proposals presented in front of Supreme Court? Are they viable at this point in time? I know, Berts, the question is now. I think we need to talk about now in this moment, right? Will the new tender, which is supposed to come out, be built in that way that we can work out something for the ISL? And my question is very simple on that front, and saying, guys, you know what? We need to be in the window as an AIFF to try and attract people to come to pick up a tender document and be willing to put the money into Indian football. But this whole scenario surrounding ISL, the failures of the national team, the incompetency of the AIFF, even if I had the money and I love Indian football, would I put money at the moment into Indian football? Because if I'm a marketing company, it will be very difficult in the next year or two to actually attract sponsors. Very difficult. Broadcasting partner, listen, there are two options, or three, let's say, in that way. Two broadcasting options, Star Sports and Sony, and FanCode potentially as a streaming platform. But I need a broadcaster. So how do I get that together? And those are, Uday Shankar has clearly stated that, hey, listen, I don't want football. I'm not interested in football. And Sony last season took money from the I-League. So that's not where you have to spend money potentially. So how can you build it? So the question is, do I do a short-term solution to the problem, try and find a short-term fix for the ISL, or do I risk and say, guys, I'm unable to sort this out. Let's look at a proper solution for 26-27 season onwards. Do you think a new AIFF regime in 2026 is needed for a reset for our football? And do you see someone like Profil coming back? Is he legally can give knowledge next season? Yes. Renal, latest September 2026, there will be elections in the AIFF. And if I look at things at this moment in time, to me, it is looking for a reset. Some Profil can come back. Profil Patel can come back. I think he has cooling off period. It ends for a lot of people in May next year. So then we'll have to wait and see what happens. But he could be in, and then we'll have to see. I think AIFF should always announce foreign coach in men's football. Krishna, I don't even think men's football. I think even in women's football, if I see Joachim Alexandersson, the way he's working with the under-20s and under-17s, if I see how Thomas Dennerby worked before that with the senior women's team, I think it is clear that I would always say, yeah, a foreign coach might be the best thing that could happen to us. So therefore, guys, to me, if you ask me, simple question, yeah, I would always say I would always prefer a foreign coach in those positions to be there. Rebuild, just putting the football in the trash can and dream in our La La Land, inclusion of whatsoever will be the first step for proper rebuild. Angry Birds, And I think, for me at least, if I look at that Bangladesh game, I was in London. I spoke that evening with a few people in London and some people who know Hamza quite well. Hamza Chaudhuri showed what the difference is in regard to quality, desire, wish. This is what I've always said. If you get your overseas players in, they will give you more than your local players. Hamza Chaudhuri has been able to galvanize the whole nation. He and Shomit Shom in the middle of the park, got that together. I mean, huge respect to Shomit Shom, who 10 days earlier played in that blizzard Canadian Premier League final, Calgary FC versus Atletico Ottawa, right? He played at -8, -9 degrees and then plays in about 30 degrees in Dhaka 10 days later. And it just shows to me, right, that we could have had Danny Bath in there, Rayhan Danda in there, and Dylan in there, Brandon in there, others in there, and we're not using it. The lack of practice, Arsenal League hasn't yet started. The mentality, the wrong tactics, like playing old face, etc. Everything's problem here. The biggest problem is the incompetency of the AIFF. Adi, the thing is, there's a lot of factors, right? You say old faces. Again, if you've played new faces, would the result have been better? Most probably not. That's the sad part. You say, okay, players will get experience in play, right? I've now seen McCarthy Nixon play 2 games. 2 games which McCarthy Nixon showed he's not ready for that level, right? And so therefore you have to be honest about it. That there is a mentality issue, no doubt about it. This team, the Indian team used to be successful also amongst other things because of its mentality, right? And again, you will say during the era, so to me, we'll talk about Vaiting Bhutia or we'll talk about Sunil Chhetri. No, there were other players in that dressing room who helped those players to be able, there were characters in it. Is it also a generational thing? Because I see that here, even in European football. I was talking to someone yesterday morning in London, and he was saying, "Oh, you know what? These players are becoming more sort of. It's all about me. It's about I. Your social media and all those things are having an effect on players." A very interesting conversation, where I said, maybe it's not just a European thing. Maybe it's a global thing, because to put on that in your shirt, that's the difficulty. And the incompetency of the AIFF actually shouldn't be the biggest factor in all of this, because there are a lot of incompetent federations, incompetent leaderships, right? The countries have been, or countries who are non-existent who've been successful, right? Do you think that in Curacao or in Cape Verde, the federations are great? You think that in other countries who are now playing in these FIFA playoffs, that their federations are great? In, I don't know, New Caledonia or Bolivia or, Suriname or whatever. Suriname, I surely know that they're not great, out of own experience, having worked there. So, no. Was denkst du, was als nächstes im indischen Fußball passieren wird? Kalyan Chorbet zurücktritt, OCR-Spieler erlaubt oder etwas anderes? Zorava is asking what I think what will happen next in Indian football. Kalyan Chorbet stepping back as the AIFF president. OCR players will be allowed or something else. Zorava thinks something else. What else? I won't be able to tell you. I don't see Kalyan Chorbet, stepping back, resigning. OCI players is a very difficult one, because given the realities within the federation at the moment, given in the political class at the moment. I was discussing this again in the last couple of days while in London with people, and people saying, hey, why is India not doing it? It's a simple question. It's saying, listen, everyone else is doing it, right? It is a big talking point in South Asian football in the UK, people who are linked to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, right? So yeah, coach is the problem, you said on day one. Yeah, Mayank, I said this. As with a lot of things, I say it. And again, some people are discussing with me about, you know what, Mohamed Salah was great. And I said, no, guys, no, one trick player. to me, if that is not understood, listen, you're celebrating because he beat the Bangladeshi right back because he did that trick, ball over the head. Brilliant, lovely, great. And it's like, yeah, but what did he achieve? Was he able to create something which is so good that we need to talk about it? Right? Did he create something where you'd say, oh, you know what, this player is exceptional and this and everything? No, he didn't. That is the problem, right? When it comes to the crunch, and that's why I said, again, people are not liking it, but I said, and I stick to it. To me, he didn't have his best game, by far not, but Changte was the most threatening to the Bangladeshis, right? So that's the thing. Angry Birds answers Rubber, wait for 5 years. I need to learn German and then all I'm going to do the statement. Angry Birds, very simple. Use Google Translator. Hi, Neil. Welcome back. We are fools to believe that these guys will bring change in football in our country. There are so many examples worldwide that show that they can adopt strategies from other countries that have flourished. Goku, I think, you can learn a lot of things from other countries, but we need to have an Indian way. And this is what I've been saying and telling people, that the problem of change at the AIFF is nice. To think that, listen, I change things at the top and everything else will work is nice. We have a problem. The biggest problem is coaching. Today, we should be talking about why our footballers are so poor. And the other day after the Thailand game, so many people wonder, oh, no, you know what? Oh, this is a B team. Oh, this is a C team, blah, blah. And then say like, India lose 1-0 against Thailand in the second match, which was not shown. And they said, oh, we had a lot of chances. Guys, you are just justifying failure. You're setting up for failure. And you know what? My standards are high, right? And the Indian football team has not been able to fulfill my standards. I'll be honest about it. And the one other person I will meet, I will tell them that on the face, right? Some of the players who I know will get to hear it. But the systematic problems that we have, I cannot put the blame on the AIFF. I need to put it on the whole system, right? We have systematic problems in Indian football, and those things need to be changed radically. I'm ready to accept that you can't put all youngsters in senior team. They can't able to handle pressure, but coach should think about future 2031 World Cup. 2030 World Cup, something is 31, big is 34, etc. Krishna, I don't need to think about 2030. Let the under 23s as a team, in my opinion, if you ask my humble opinion, if we are putting emphasis on the Asian Games, which again, in my opinion, is wrong, but again, that's the problem that we have. I would keep the under 23s together for another 10 months. Let them play in the windows. Focus on the Asian Games and then focus on 27 under 23 Asian Cup qualifiers. And then slowly push them up. Because I will tell you, if you're looking now at 2030, half to two-thirds, maybe even 3/4 of the players you're talking in the under 23s about will not be there to move into the senior national team. I was looking yesterday at the under 17 World Cup squad. I looked at the under 15 squad in 2015 when I first saw them here in Germany. Then I looked at the under 17 World Cup squad, and then I looked at the squad which was available to Khalid Jamil, right? And there are two players who were on that pitch, Anwar Ali and Suresh Wangjam. And both, I expected more of them. I'll be honest, for Indian standards, they've done good. But if I look at them and where they are, especially Suresh, the way he played, I thought Suresh would have been able to move on to high level. And if I look at that under 17 squad, let me go through some of the names, right? Like one second. Let me say, one second. Let me just quickly go through that squad. Tell you some of the names, right? We can start at the top, right? Dheeraj, right? 8 years later, I expected a lot. Boris, doing well for himself in Goa, sometimes in, sometimes out of the national team. Jitendra, good defensive player at the time. Yeah, good pairing if needed be with Anwar Ali at the back. Anwar Ali, has made it. Sanjeev Stalin, sub player at Mumbai City, not much. Suresh Wangjam, we've spoken about. Nintoy, yeah, okay. In and out, ISL level player. Amarjit Kiam, often captain of that team. I don't know where he is. Aniket Jadhav, the same thing. Abhijit Sarkar is playing local. Komal Thappal is now joined after long injury. Gokulam Kerala, right? So Komal Thappal, was seen as the next superstar at the time. Henry Antonai, I think, is playing in the Bangalore Super Division for a team. Then the surprise, of course, Apuya, who wasn't a regular at the time. Rahim Ali is the other one that I forgot, also part of that squad. Jeekson Singh, over the last 1.5 years, has not played well. Nongdomba Naurem, I think a lot of people remember him for his goal for the AIFF Elite Academy in the I-League against Shillong Lajong. Rahul KP, right? In and out. Namit Deshpande stopped playing football. Mohammad Shah Jahan, don't even know where he is. Prabsukhan Gill, number 1 at East Bengal. Sunny Dhaliwal playing somewhere in North America. That's the team, right? So 3 were in the starting 11 yesterday, the day before yesterday, okay. But yeah, that's actually a decent number, because if I look at, for example, England, I was looking at England because I've seen a graphic from the BBC, right? In regard to the English team, which was quite interesting to look at. 1 second, let me just find where is England, England, right? So it was interesting to see that they had McGuee, who's now at Crystal Palace, Phil Foden, of course, at Man City, Jadon Sancho, in and out and there, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Emil Smith-Rowe, Morgan Gibbs-White, Conor Gallagher. Some of those who've really made it out of that squad, right? If I look at, for example, Spain, another squad of super players, right? Ferran Torres, of course, who was at Valencia at the time, Abel Ruiz, Sergio Gomez, Eric Garcia, and that's it, right? So therefore also, or France, right? I could go on and on. France, Chouameni was in there, right? Who's at Real Madrid now. But otherwise, none of them actually really made it. So that's an interesting thing. They give 48 lakh for tender, making 0 bid. No, Krishna, that's a professional fee of, the company who's making it. And 48 lakhs, you might think a lot. But hey, this was forced on the AIFF, that the bid has to be done by a separate entity. And therefore, and that fee is normal. So I think our overall quality is so poor that no one can fix this team. I won't be so stuck under 150 level for many years. Utsav, that's a danger. I think that we are now, I in the past used to say, listen, we're a team about 120, 140. Most probably now we're a team of 140, 160. And why would someone want more extended deal rather than a 15-year deal in that more loss thing? Angry Birds, it depends on how you structure the deal. But I think that's going to be an interesting question. It's a technical issue more than tactical. I wouldn't call it technical. I would call it an issue with football basics. My biggest problem with this team has been in the recent past is, and I've said this 3 years ago the first time. I remember I was sitting in Kolkata watching the game, and I'd Renedy sitting next to me, and I was telling him, listen, the basics against Hong Kong. And I remember Renedy said in a video, that the video is still on the AIFF YouTube channel, when he said, we won 4-0, yes. But, Hong Kong had their chances, and technicality. And it has gotten worse. So that's the reality. Regime changed won't improve technical quality of youngsters, nor the seniors watching the current 15 or 70 teams are equally. Zorava, this is the main thing. And this is, this is what I'm raising. And a lot of people don't want to understand that. They want to, we need young blood. Okay, I'm fine with young blood. I don't have a problem with that. But I need quality. And so therefore, for me, I have seen, I'll be honest, I think there are very few people outside of the AIFF ecosystem who've seen so many under 17 teams in the last 25 years. and have been involved with under 17 teams in the last 25 years, right? And if I look at, I go back to 2002. I go back also to 2015 when the under 15s, under 16s, under 17s came through. I even look at that batch where Vikram Pratap was captain, where they lost to South Korea and didn't qualify for the World Cup. That was 2018. And I look at them now, the under 17s, like, oops, but if that's the quality coming through, then, we need to actually consider shutting down all academies and restarting something. And this is something, if you tell this to people, if you tell those guys who run soccer schools, football centers, academies, even the clubs who are running it, they get angry. Oh, no, I've spent so much on infrastructure. I said to a kid who had come here to Germany, who used to play in India for the academy of a big club, let's put it this way, right? And he was one of the best over there. He realized here, said, and they had good infrastructure. He said, the infrastructure in Germany is worse. Life is tougher. But the boy, I told him a simple thing. You want better infrastructure in India compared to what you get here in Germany to some extent? Because some of the infrastructure here is from the 80s. I said, you look at the level of coaching, look at your teammates, and look at your opponents. And look at the number of matches. And that boy, 1.5 years later, said, tell me, you know what? Yeah, it's good. My parents moved, and I can play in Germany and do my education over here and play football on the side. That's the reality. Yes, sir, Joachim Alexandersson clearly responsible for women Asian Cup qualifiers. Yes, Krishna, 100%. And maybe Joachim Alexandersson would be the coach. Maybe, I know for the preparation it's difficult for the under 20s, but maybe someone to think about. Bangladesh football may go through a football revolution. Hamza will bring it. Yeah, Zoravar, it's already started. Think about, I was speaking to a Bangladeshi friend who's football crazy, who's been following Bangladesh football thing for as long as I have been. He said, we've never had this vibe that we have at the moment. Bangladesh football has the vibe that I would like to have around the Indian national team and around Indian football. The Indian national team is nowadays right. It's and yeah, we need a Hamza Chaudhuri moment, right? It'll be interesting to see what our so-called professional footballers will do if the league doesn't happen. Probably not will happen. Cool. Let's be honest about this. We have players at the top who are sorted. Let's put it this way. There are players who will be okay, and there's a large group of players who will struggle because this is their livelihood. And it doesn't always have to be ISL level. I can go down the levels 2, 3, 4, 5, where people will struggle because suddenly the system no longer is there. Let's be honest about that. So, yes, you might be criticizing the top players or national team players who are not putting out statements when the team fails, blah, blah, but they're putting out something. But there are a lot of footballers who will struggle because of that. So therefore, for me, that's the thing, and it is a problem to me that we put everything in one basket. We have to differentiate, right? The Sunils, the Gopreets, the Sandeshes, even the Sahals and Listons and Apuyas and these guys will not struggle. But there is a level below. Some of the players have lived, over the top. A lot of players are taking care not only of themselves but of the whole families. That's also a reality. So we have to think about them as well, right? So, yeah, Abbas won't be as professional as Khalid. If things turn bad, he will point fingers on management players, and many of them won't like it. Utsav, Abbas is professional. Khalid isn't. You are calling Khalid a yes man in the sense of, yeah, but I know that a lot of players have played under Havas. They might, and again, the question is not if you like a coach or not as a player. Can a coach get good results out of it? I know that a lot of players in the national team didn't like Stephen Constantine to be the coach, right? That he was the anti-Bob Houghton. Bob Houghton was loved by the players because Bob was like like an older father to some of them, even like a grandfather. But Bob was of a different level. But Stephen got results out of these boys, right? If you think that when we were 172, Stephen worked hard to get the rankings up, right? So therefore, not easy always, but you have to work on those things. Hey Kumar, someone said a good joke in the dire situation of Indian football. The joke is tomorrow ISL match between Supreme Court FC versus Kalyan Chowk FC or AIFF FC. Yeah, that's the problem. But you know what? The interesting part is that the Supreme Court has said, from what I have been told, not publicly but internally, they want to get rid of that case. They said, listen, we've given you the constitution and now do your own job. The problem is that the AIFF and the court-appointed person in Ageshwar Rao and the amicus, and they still want to go back. They will come unemployed footballers, says Angry Birds to Vuku. It will be better 26, someone who can bring in a football higher will become president. Yeah. So you argue with an East Bengal fan on X who was blaming ISL for Indian football's downfall, just as I say East Bengal fans despise ISL. So it's not just East Bengal fans, it's others as well. And again, they live in their own la-la land, and reality is, oh, you know what, in the past, everything used to be better. Okay. And I simply said, if you say the system in the past was better, we didn't have a system. The Tata Football Academy, and this is a question which still no one has answered so far. The Tata Football Academy was producing 25 players every 2 years. Mainly East Bengal, Mohun Bagan taking him up. Even then, the Dempos, the Churchills, and whoever else was there in the market picking up the rest of Mohammedan Sporting, But that was your talent base. At some stage, 90% of the senior national team were ex-TFA players, right? Junior teams very often were 95% Tata Football Academy because they were of a different level, of a different standard. That is your so-called system. That isn't a system. That is depending on someone who's doing the work for you. Ranjan Chaudhuri has produced at the Tata Football Academy as a coach more than 200 players. Reality. It is not East Bengal. It is not Mohun Bagan. It is not Dempo. It is not Salgaonkar. It is not Churchill Brothers. It is not Mahindra United. It is not whoever else was there in the I-League. You were not producing players. So don't give me that crap. I can have a discussion. Zorawar, I say I can have a discussion with anyone and everyone. But if you want to discuss with me, know your facts, know the bloody facts, know the insights, know what has really happened. The I-League being turned into a second tier is the fault of the I-League, not the fault of FSDL forget FSDL, IMG Reliance. IMG Reliance, and I've said this in 2011, 2012, had conversations with the I-League clubs, and especially who else? Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, and Churchill Brothers said, no, we don't want this. Right? But hey, so therefore, these are realities. The I-League could have been turned into an ISL, but the I-League clubs did not want to be turned into an ISL. At that time, a company like Godrej was willing to attach itself to one of the clubs. That was one of the conversations happening at the time. Just to give you the magnitude of where Reliance was fishing to bring in corporate partners. But because most people were not around, they don't know all of this, right? But hey, even if they play or not, no changes will happen in the national team. Yeah. Whether is Tete Amar a good guy to run in presidential elections? 100%. Tete Amar is one of the few people in India who have shown I have a football state which is a zero, and I can make it successful over a 10-year period. Tete is surely one of the top qualified people to be. But again, does Tete want to be in that chair? Because Tete is now part of the AIFF at the moment as well. Is he raising his voice? Is he not raising his voice? Again, there are internals. So, yeah, they want I-League to be back. Yeah, but again, the I-League is there, but the I-League is a failure in itself. And again, the NFL was turned into the I-League. And the I-League, listen, the development of the I-League in the last 11 years has happened because of the ISL. Mohun Bagan and East Bengal had to upgrade themselves in 2015, 2016 because the players were saying, you know what, I'm playing in it because you are playing ISL and then I-League. The players were coming back and telling them, listen, I want this, I want this, I want this from you. Better training facilities, better travel, better stay, better this, better that. All of that happened in the I-League because of the ISL. So even if you ask Sunanda Dhar and all these others and say, listen, guys, why did things change? Because the ISL forced the I-League to get better, right? Why did the I-League go out into regions where football was there but didn't have clubs? Because the big centers were taken by the ISL. That opened up places like Kashmir. You went to Manipur. You, besides Aizawl came up, Shillong came back, right? Former Union Sports Minister has urged National Sports Board to prioritize homegrown at his overseas players. In my view, fits to rustic ground tractors. But yeah, Neil, I've had a conversation with him when he was Sports Minister, when the AIFF was said to be banned. And we had a conversation on the OCI thing as well. And he was not for it in 2022. Right? He was clearly, but I stand because I say, listen, I am an OCI myself. Right? To me, that is something that independently of what our results were or are, I think OCI players were on the need for the AIFF to bring in my opinion, period. I don't think there's a point of discussion on that. I think we need that. We need to bring in our Indian origin talent into the national team fold. Right? I would even say me more in the women's game than even the men. And yeah, but again, will he do that? No. There is this number 48 lakhs for this procedure floating around. Is that a normal expense for a federation with such a procedure? Roshan, that is the expense of one of the big four doing such an exercise. Now, at this moment in time, one would say, that's a lot of money. But yes, because why? Because the Supreme Court said you have to do it. So thank you, 48 crores AIFF having to spend because, right, the Supreme Court wanted it. Nilanjan Datta posted the old AIFF leadership reach chief in 1996 from wanted the 73 thanks to Lakshya. They know what that means. Roshan, Lakshya was a plan developed by Rob Baan, who was the Dutch technical director of Indian football. So for me, I don't know if Lakshya was really the reason for it. I think they are also smart in organizing certain friendlies to jump quite dramatically in the rankings. So therefore, so to me, is it the plan again? The Lakshya plan actually was never really fully implemented. So I don't know why Nilanjan is saying that is the reason why India reached the 96 positions. Again, the old regime, certain people are also glorifying things which, maybe shouldn't be glorified in the way they, some people might think. Even as a normal person, I can clearly point out where the problem is. Those in charge are ignoring what's the correct way, I can say. Yeah. Can we naturalize origin players? But when you see any origin players natural, Renal, what is naturalizing? Naturalizing is what has happened with Ryan Williams, right? So the point at the end of the day is, yeah, of course you can. The question is, what is the process? If Anurag Thakur, as a senior politician in India, what am I going to say? As again, politicians live in their own little la-la land. It looks like our so-called experienced players, Sandesh, Bheke, Lanswala, and Suresh, and many more are not good enough to compare to that level. They stayed in their bubble playing ISL with comfort. Mehul, I wouldn't say that. See, Sandesh tried his luck abroad, right? He had to realize he's not good enough to go and play in Croatia, right? Changte, yes, Changte is a different story. I organized him with friends the trial at Viking Stavang in 2019. Had an offer, didn't stay, came back. Rahul Beke, I don't think you should put in this bracket because Rahul Beke is one of the few who've actually improved over the last few years. But again, Rahul Beke is now getting also old. But still, Rahul Beke used to be 4 or 5 years, used to be called Lord. So therefore, let's look at that reality as well. And Suresh, we spoke about it early on in the show. Suresh Wangam is one of those where I say, you know what, from you, I would have hoped to see more. So therefore, for me, those are some of the issues and problems. AIFF full they form committee for allowing OCIPO players simply solution, ask government to amend single citizenship to do a citizenship. That's simple solution. Krishna, it's not that simple. And again, the committee was created for the sake of creating committee. That's a different, discussion. But the government will not change citizenship to dual citizenship. Indian government at the moment is working to take citizenship away from people, right? So that is also what we need to keep in mind. Your opinion regarding Anurav's statement, he's against OCI, he still believes in a computer players too. I've just said it, Robert. Again, we've had a conversation on this, and I knew from personal conversation what to say. He said that to me on my face. So therefore, I know that this was his opinion also as sports minister, where he doesn't realize it's not just a question of football, it's a question of Indian sports, right? The diaspora is a talent base that India needs to tap if it wants to be successful at the Olympics. India and Olympic sports, you say grassroots. India as grassroots is a disaster. We want to host Olympics. We would be the worst to be an organizer of Olympics if this continues the way it is. With such politicians, the ruling party chance of also players is grim. Yeah, so looks. Can someone? There were what India could learn from them and also Haiti. Curaçao has picked up origin players. It's very good players from the Netherlands. If you look at the Curaçao national team, one second, let me just give you some of the names of the Curaçao national team, right? I mean, Dick Advocaat is head coach, right? The old general. If I look at it, for example, Tahi Chong is one of their players who's just joined them. Tahi, academy graduate at Manchester United. Some of these guys have been at Ajax. Some of these guys have been at PSV Eindhoven. Armando Obispo is a PSV player. Yunan Gari is playing at in Saudi Arabia, right? So this is a good team. So therefore, can we learn something? Yeah, get our players of origin involved. Yes, what a friend Nanjan agrees with Anurag Thakur. That's the sad part. Robert, anyone who says who's ignorant on this topic, sorry, and I call these people ignorant, should not be talking about football. Anybody who says origin players should not be used is ignorant, doesn't understand. Sorry, I think we have to be blunt. Again, even friends of mine, I don't care, right? I do not care if you're a friend of mine or not. If you're a friend of mine, it's even worse, because then you should be of my opinion, because then you should understand these things, and you don't. We've got too many people blabbering about things, right? Someone saying, under 23s make them senior team. Anyone who says that does not understand the basics of football, is actually fooling the system and fooling the people by saying this. Anybody who says this has no clue about football, right? If we focus on the under 20s, we say, you become the senior team, right? The next disaster is just waiting to happen, right? But hey, there we are. Thakur, I suppose nothing says Krishna. How is under quality was terrible. What's up? Because the academies are not producing good footballers. Again, the AIFF, Zava is not sportsman anymore. His opinion does not matter. He should stick to cricket only. Krishna, his voice matters. That is your mistake. His matters, right? His opinion matters. Nongamba Naura and Jitendra Singh, Komal Tata, Amajit Kiam, Abhijit Shakar, Aman Chhetri vanished. Aman was the saddest one, Zoravar, because he had a serious injury before the World Cup. Very talented striker. But after that, I think he broke his leg. If I'm not wrong, Aman Chhetri broke his leg. After that, never recovered. Right? But again, realities. 2017 under-17 team, only Jigson Singh in our national team, except no one is permanent in the team. No, Krishna, they are, no? Anwar Ali is there, Suresh Wangjam, and now Rahim Ali. Aman Chhetri gave up football, is now an Insta influencer, and that's sad. If we've come that far, that an Aman Chhetri, with the talent that he had, I find it sad that we're talking about, hey, listen, you know what? He stopped playing football. He's now an Insta influencer. Very sad. Did our Elite Academy program shut down? Yes, it was shut down. Even Jixon Sim not permanent in a team. Yes, very true. Krishna, winner of that the World Cup are playing in Premier League and English Championship. Mehul, yes, some, but a lot of them. I was talking a little earlier about the English players. A lot of them have actually not made it. There are some players who have actually stopped playing football, right? So therefore, that's also the reality. Without OCI players, I'm afraid I don't see Indian football achieve anything in the next 2 decades either. So I would go with that. I would agree to that. Was so holding in the football last time plus. Like ISL as a backbone to our football. Renal, you need a top division. And there are different areas. The problem of the ISL has been that the focus of the ISL and their clubs has mainly been about the senior team. And let's take Mohun Bagan Supergiant as my perfect example. Mr. Goenka, with the money that he spent on that team, could have easily built a world-class academy, facility, training facility, even for the first team, right? You know, and to me, that's the problem. Others have tried. Look at how much JSW has spent, but what quality is JSW producing? We're talking about JSW, right? What quality is FC Goa producing? Same question can be asked about Ranjit. What quality are you producing? You're saying I can do this, I can do that, but what quality are you all producing? This is the question that should be asked to all of them. Who are your coaches? What's the quality, right? So that's the point. Yes, sir, also players at least bring better results. Bengal, no, Vagabond. So that means even a top 10 national youth team, only 4-5 will make it top level. 2-3. In our system, 2-3. If you ask me. I remember we scored our first goal in the U17 World Cup. Yeah, Mutsav, which is the best academy, football academy in India. Vagabond, I wouldn't be able to tell you even what is the best academy in India. Because you would say, XYZ, some will say, okay, infrastructure-wise, most probably Bangalore FC. Some will say, oh, Classic Football Academy because of the results, despite limited resources. So I would not say anything. Do Bangladesh as a whole country more passionate about football? Devanshu, no, I don't think so. As a whole country, I don't know. See, as Bengalis, they are more passionate about football than most probably people, let's say, in the northern belt in India. Surely, yeah, no doubt about it. But again, as a country, if India was more successful, most probably there's a lot of people who suddenly would be football fans who are not football fans at the moment. That's also reality, right? And in Bangladesh, a lot of people over the last 2 decades switched to be cricket fans. And now even the cricketers are supporting football, right? So that's a good sign. Right, quick reminder, like, share, and subscribe. If you like the conversations, 13 likes so far at the moment. I hope we can do better. Thank you yesterday for a new record, over 17,000 views of the live, day before yesterday of the live watch along. And and subscribe to the channel and help the channel to grow. Thanks a lot for that as well. None are, excuse for academies, says Arunava. So is it possible if upcoming coaches take AIFF license instead of ASC, may work there for 2-3 years and then come back to India? Utsav, the question is not the license. The AFC license is theoretically as good as a UEFA license. Working elsewhere and understanding, that's different. If you're going to work in a system for 2-3 years, yeah, you're going to learn a lot, right? But that is better. The license is not your problem. License good to have, but I need to know what to implement, right? We invite foreign coaches to India. Again, we could invite, but who's going to pay for it? And where do we have the structure to try and build on that? Indian football revolution can bring, if we bring OCI player better result, it will bring football revolution. Maybe Krishna, but I think yes, it would be, since loss to Afghanistan, FIFA qualifiers has been one catastrophe after another. Yeah, Nixon, sadly, yeah. Even Supreme Court is fed up of Indian football, says Arunava. Oh, I see. There's no news on that. Have you ever played football in Europe and consider professional football career in Germany? I have played football in my youth, yes, but professional career, even in my dreams, yes, but not in reality, right? So, no. Actually, the people who run clubs are incomparable. Yeah. There says the Bangshu. How's the quality of Tata Academy now since it's under the umbrella of Jamshedpur FC? Utsav, it's the problem is a different one. At the past, the Tata Football Academy de facto was the unofficial National Academy of Indian Football, right? So the best players used to go there. And I remember Ranjan Chaudhuri said to me, you know what? The big one that I missed was Baichung Bhutia. He saw him in Delhi at the Subrata Cup, didn't pick him. And so therefore, that is that. And otherwise, now with so many academies, so many, talent is spread out across India. So the Tata Football Academy does not have access to the best talent. In respect to national team, ISL not happening doesn't concern me. Was a temporary fix. Now unlikely. Grassroots is a long-term path, but flawed due to lack of quality coaches. Yeah. But again, there is no pathway. That's why we need, if ISL is not happening, okay, right? Worst case, we'll have to live with it. OCI, temporary fix? No, it's not temporary fix. Neil, this is the mistake that a lot of people are making. My opinion, if you look at origin players around the world, it's turned out to be a long-term fix. But if your national team gets better, it also starts helping your local football. Look at the Philippines, who were one of the first to take on it. Indonesia, overseas players, local level, both moving up. So therefore, I think it gives you a push. People not to ignore India. Bangshu, that's, I think, a big problem. There are people saying that we fans are giving mental pressure to players so they can't perform on the field. I'm like, what kind of lame excuse that India is a non-football country? And what about footballing countries? Their players face 5 times, 100 times pressure from fans, sports authorities, federation when they play ball badly. The best thing like that, they shouldn't play football. That argument doesn't stand. I agree with you. Is it 12, 15 years for foreigners to get Indian citizenship? Foreigners don't get it. Utsav. Overseas Indians can get it in a 12-year plus window at the moment. The goal which India conceded versus Bangladesh was comical. All defenders following the ball, no one even seeing Morsalin making the run. Yeah. Zurava, and that shows you have to work on things. Rob Ban had a good plan. I attended the match model session in Mumbai in 2010 as an international coach, but nothing came of it. Hi, Ajit. It was a very good plan, but I also told Rob, I said, your plan is good, but no one will implement it. So I take one thing I told Rob and I stick to it today, and I was right. Like with many, sadly, I have to say, I always say sadly, with these kind of things, I rather would be wrong. But I said to Rob at the time, I said to Scott O'Donnell, who was his understudy, I said, guys, if you can't implement it, what's the point of this plan? Lakshya was a brilliant plan, but in Indian conditions in 2013, 2012, 2013, when they came around with it, it was never to be implemented. So the point is, I have to have a good plan, which I can also implement in Indian system. I can have a world-class plan, but the world-class plan will become, I don't know, non-existent because no one will implement it. So what's the point of that plan? So Lakshya is good on paper, or actually not good. It was brilliant on paper. Rob Ban realized what we need to do. But as we fail very often, the implementation part is where the failure lies, because people were unwilling to do what was necessary or what is necessary to implement the plan. And therefore we were stuck, and Sheikh Morsalin is better than all youngsters in Indian football at the moment. That is also a scary part. I found that boy respect, right? And they're trying to work to get him abroad as well. The BFF with some of the senior players are looking to get him outside of Bangladesh. That boy, is ISL not happening for sure, but what's next? Augusto, there is no clarity if the ISL will happen or not. At the moment, if you ask me, the likelihood of it happening is less than not happening. But again, we'll have to wait and see. If Indian politicians are able to name 11 footballers, I would be surprised, says Nixon. I will describe that goal against India the worst goal a team can concede. Yeah. The Bangladesh goal was a big mistake. I thought that they messed up by delaying the pass to Morsalim, and they still scored in second half. India also had the same chance encounter, but we did delay. Yeah, but Nadeem, they had an idea behind it, right? They had an idea behind it, and then they scored. They set it up. And if we had done the right things which were needed, right? If Akash, denied that forward movement somehow or the other without a foul. If Mekanthan would have stopped ball watching and just whatever done, stop it, clear it, whatever you do. And whoever, I think it was Suresh and was it Suresh and Nikhil? I don't know who the other player were. And you're moving all towards the ball. Why is not at least one person moving towards towards the action, right? Towards the action. That's simple. Komal Thatan Gokulan, yeah, let's see. Good to see him back. I know Tuck is still a senior politician, so he's not nobody. Exactly, Zorava, that's what I said. As per Tana Apte, who visited the Reliance Academy, he is optimistic. Sorry, let me start again. Nadeem. As per Tana Apte, who visited the Reliance Academy, he's optimistic about the U13, U14 when grow up will be technically better. Nadeem, technically better is nice. What's the overall package? Right? To me, I've heard this, we will be better in the next 5 years. How many times over the last 20 years? And we've actually been regressing, right? Well, that's the reality. In India, we have only a small pool of U17s, so the progression to senior team is less. While in England, Japan, they might have hundreds of thousands of same level footballers at U17. A percentage will succeed. Nadeem, you know what the problem is? By generalizing this, it is not working. You know why? What I said earlier about the Tata Football Academy. 25 players every 2 years, all of them got placed in the top level. Maybe one or two had to go to Mohammedan Sporting and play at the lower level in the past, right? So those 25 were better than, I don't know how many players are we producing per year, 2,000, 2.5, maybe 3,000 players. And in England, they don't have hundreds of thousands of players at the same level, at under 17 level. If you really think that, it makes no sense. Because even at the biggest clubs, and again, I was talking about England and the under 17 World Cup, right? If I look at 21 players of that World Cup winning squad, right? Jadon Sancho at that time already was a rising star. He was already playing for Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. Look at where Jadon Sancho is. Like, here he is there. Okay. But he's still at the top level. Ryan Brewster was the top scorer of that team with Liverpool Football Academy. Jan Danda teammate, right? Ryan is at the moment at Derby County, right? Mark Gahey is most probably in that team besides Phil Foden, Morgan Gibbs-White, Emil Smith-Rowe, the biggest name. So the percentages you're talking about, in theory, sounds good, because you'll say, okay, you know what, you've got under 18 and then PL2 and all that kind of stuff. But for us, what we have done is we had 25 kids, and most of those kids actually made it. India, I think, had the highest success rate from that front, from youth level to senior level, and now we have a much bigger pool. The quality has been diluted, and we're not trying to able to funnel through the best, because that the quality is not, the quality is not there. So what we've done, we've gone from mass instead of class, be it with coaches, be it with the youth football system. And if I like it or not, and I'm actually a fan of it, a lot of people aren't, I think an AIFF Elite Academy, to bundle the best 30 kids together, or potentially the best 30 out of the best 100, let's say, is most probably the best thing to do, right? If I see, whenever we've had the Indian Arrows program, be it around the 2010s, or be it even after the Under 17 World Cup, it has worked on both occasions, right? Who has more potential, women OCS or men's OCS? At the moment, it is I think the men's. We have women's, but I think the women's would improve our quality, surely. But I think the men's OCIs would make that much more of a jump for our team at the moment. If ISL or any private owned league do start, do you think that the new league will prioritize youth development? Because if it's the same model as ISL, I will face the same fate as the current ISL after a few years. Zoravar, very good question. Very good question from your side. But if you ask me, given the current realities of things, you know, so to me, if you ask me at the moment, given the realities, I don't see them prioritizing youth, because what funds youth football around the world, right? You somewhat make a little bit of money here and there, or ideally you make profits, and then that profit trickles down within your own system or within the system in general. It trickles down, right? Sort of pyramid, it spreads out. So your problem is, given the reality of things, if I was asked to manage a team in the ISL or whatever the top tier league is called, as much as I would like to youth football, I have to stabilize my first team. And I most probably will have to be successful with the first team. I have to look at the numbers. My first priority will not be grassroots and youth football. Let's be honest about it. So the question is, the question is, what do we build? How do we build it? Right? So that's the problem. Ranji is admitting that he has no money. He has his limitations. He's asked Goenka just to invest more talent because they have the backing. Okay. And as per Ranji, limited money may never dominate in youth to Goenka if sales can be more bigger than his two teams. And I think there are reasons for it, and I don't want to talk about it. And you all know why that is and why it's not, again. And it's harming us rather than helping. No academy will come close to what Tata Football was doing 20 years back. Exactly, Neil. That's the problem. The Tata Football Academy generally wanted to develop players. And why did the Tata Football Academy 20 years ago won NFL 2, right? They declined promotion and said, let us focus on developing players. But what is developing players? Developing players doesn't mean you're winning titles here, left, right, and center. And this is one thing I've told Ranjit. If you want to develop players, I don't need to be successful at under 13, under 15, or even at under 18 level. My output is how many players can I bring up to the system, and the players have to be better than the last batch. And that is where all the academies in India are failing, right? Because the talent level is not getting better. And we get carried away by performances which are not good enough. Bangladesh cricket is notable to achieve anything in sporting field, even cricket, so football is a ray of hope for them. So rather what they achieve, what they don't achieve, again, football is a passionate sport in Bangladesh. It's always been. It is the first love of the Bangladeshis. But again, I don't know enough about Bangladesh cricket, so I can't argue with you on that, how successful or not, but they were playing with the best teams in cricket. But their football was always, again, they're Bengalis at the end of the day. And for them, football is the biggest sport, right? Even Saurav Ganguly couldn't change that in Kolkata. Is it possible to become coach even if you had never football? Yes, Krishna, you can. Theoretically, anyone can become a coach. It's baffling how clubs are willing to spend 10, 12 crores on an international player in the late 30s who's nearing retirement rather than investing in their youth setup. Bring in top class coaches to develop young talent should be priority. Instead, they're going for experienced players who won't even have a long shelf life. How can football develop? Clubs keep doing things this way? Gupu, that is what clubs do around the world. The priority is the now. The priority is not the long term. Let's be clear about that. I am looking at the next year. I am looking at maybe the next 2 seasons. I am not looking at what is going to happen in 10, 15 years. Most clubs do, right? So the increase in the number of academies in football did more harm than good. If you want to summarize it as that, yes. I would rather have 5 good 5 good academies across India with the right coaching, you know, uh, with the right competition would be better than hundreds of academies across India. Again, that's not going to happen. But again, that's, you know, even the Bangladeshi people blame their players more than us, says Nadeem. Okay, I'm 19 years old. In future, is I can become football coach even though I've not played football ever in my life. Yeah, of course, Krishna, you can. Why not? The only reason I said OCI will be temporary solutions due to the recent Nigeria exit from World Cup. My friends say they prefer local players who are more passionate compared to the players playing in Europe. See, Neil, and there is, I give you the Hamza Chaudhuri example or Shom example in Bangladesh, which is 100% opposite. Nigeria, don't compare us with those African countries. They have their own issues, and then but if you talk with Moroccans, if you talk with Algerians, if you talk with Tunisians, they will always tell you, yeah, we'll take our European-born players. Turkey, same thing, right? And that's the thing, right? To me, therefore, for me, yeah, ought to make my comments non-understandable. Something no problem, Devanshu. Maybe cross-check before posting things. Nigeria's problem is that players of Nigerian born elsewhere, like in England, are initially looking for a call up from the birth after the age of 20. When they realize they won't get a call up from England, they turn to Nigeria for the call up. Yeah, but Goko, is that the reason that they're not passionate about the country? Again, this is again the same thing that Anurag Thakur is saying here, right? It is the result of a game doesn't mean that someone is passionate or someone is not passionate, right? To me, that is the bigger discussion that one should have, and we're not having, right? Why can't we change teams like in cricket T20 tests? Or there's nothing to lose to Team India now. Why the coach didn't try a new team, maybe under 23? Because you're comparing cricket with football. It doesn't make sense. Again, first mistake. Omar Thattal joined Gokulam Kerala FC last season, was injured in pre-season friendly with Chennai FC and was ruled out for the season. Happy to see him back. Yeah, Naveen. But again, another season lost. Look at where he was 8 years ago. Look at where he is. Basically, we sacrificed quality for quantity. Yeah, we did. Best OCI players, according to you, do we have someone like Hamza quality-wise? No. If you ask me, if we have quality-wise, I think to me, I don't see any player of the quality of Hamza. Hamza, I think, is the best South Asian at the moment. Maybe challenged by Claudio Kramaknecht and Tuna Morrison, but otherwise, I wouldn't say. Again, Jan Danda hasn't had a good season. Danny Bath is getting old. Dylan Markinde and Brandon Killer had to drop leagues. Sean Hundal has had a good season, but I don't see us having someone like a Hamza Chaudhuri or even like a Shomit Shom. Our thing is, I think we need 4 or 5 players together jointly, plus Ryan Williams. Then I think you can build a team around it. In my opinion, India needs to shut down all football academies and have a central AIFF academy with its regional academies as feeder for the central academies. Used to be a decade back. So, Robert, yeah, I don't think it's not going to work, but having a centralized academy with the regional ones is best for Indian football. Yeah, it sounds good, but again, I would actually do it differently. I would create a central AIFF academy in the sense of not an academy, it's an AIFF training center where I say, maybe every 2 months, maybe every 3 months, I get the best kids from India together. Where I say, you know what, I've got, let's say, 5 zonal ones. When I get the best ones from the zone, and then from the zone, they move on to the national level. There needs to be a feeder system. We don't have a proper system. And again, our focus on having an under 13, under 15, under 18 national level competition is also wrong. I would go back, in the strong states where I have my football. Goa needs to have its own league. Bengal needs to have its own league. Mizoram, Manipur, Kerala, Bangalore, Mumbai. You have to have your own leagues. So this is the reality. Hi, Blue. Welcome back. Cricket is bringing in crowds in Kolkata. Recently, India was at 40K in the stands. Really. Yeah, but Nadeem, again, this Kolkata thing about how people, if you're getting 40,000, then a derby gets you 50, 60,000. This fans coming in doesn't matter. Are these 40,000 people actually all from Kolkata? Are they all there for the game? Are they there for other things? Let's see. Namaskar, namaste, Hyper Master. Good to see you back. The Bengal Super League is starting. Yes, Surava. As I didn't see the Bangladesh team, can explain if the hype people are making favor of Sun and did he do anything? No, he didn't. Blue have said this, and people are fighting me because of that on Twitter, even on my last video here, where people are explaining, why am I telling people, people can have their opinions, and I'm trying to explain to them, anyone can have an opinion, but is an informed and knowledgeable opinion. That is what it is. I have seen enough Mohamed Sanans over the last 25 years. Liston Colasic is my best example. Romeo Fernandez. What hype was created in 2014-15 around him when he even went to Atletico Paranaense in Brazil, didn't make it, came back, and now he's playing Goa village tournaments. Anthony Pereira. Sorry, not Fernandez. Anthony Pereira. We've got tons of them. They are all of the same ilk, but there is something missing to take them. Why I always say, to me, why did I try and help Changte with trial abroad? Because to me, that was one of the few wingers who's had a little bit more than the rest. And that needs to be understood, Blue. And that is the sad part, is that they get carried away. Sanan didn't play well for the under-23s. Look at the qualifiers. We were talking about Mohamed Sohail, right? So, I don't know. Hamza is 2000+%. Yeah, Krishna. Hamza Chaudhuri, without that team without Hamza Chaudhuri is not as good, right? Right. We can still have 5 good academies alongside the hundreds. These football schools, academies acts not only football development, but they to get engaged in sports. Nadeem, yeah, but you know what? A lot of them are selling false dreams. I've worked, my friends run and I'm advised the German Football Academy, right? And when you talk to those kids, some of those kids think that they're playing in play-to-play models, that they can play for Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man U, whatever. Name the club. They think that thing is going to go there. But I am talking about elite development. What you are talking about is grassroots. That is fine. But I need to filter through the best kids so that I can get the best out to play for India in the long run. Right? And at the moment, what we are filtering through the system, and most of the academies are doing it. I want to be successful under 13, under 15, under 17, under 18 level. Right? Let's see. This was the last match of Cabrera at home. Let's see. This statement from former sportsman Thakur, and they are host Olympics Commonwealth Games. First is a shortcut route for Anurag, but gets after frontiers maybe. Hypermaster, are we hosting the Olympics? For example, I'm seeing a proper bid being prepared here in Germany. 4 cities are fighting for the German bid. Again, Commonwealth Games, different. The reality is 2030, nobody wants to organize the Commonwealth Games. That's why India stepped forward. Do we have good OCIs in football except USA? Yeah, we have. We have some in Scandinavia. We have some in Europe. Yes, we have. Thank you, sir, for your opinion. I would love to become coach of group grassroots football after getting license. Krishna, do it. Try it. Work on it. You don't need to have a license to be a coach. Start, working with a team. And then when you feel ready, do the licenses and then become a coach. Yes, Bengali first love is football and support every sport. Yeah, Krishna, very true. Manpreet Sakaria is near Hamza, Delmark near Hamza level. I forgot to mention another name, Andre Lakshmikant from Estoril, Portugal Premier League. I don't think Dylan is of the level of Hamza, because if Dylan was of the level of Hamza, Dylan would be playing championship. So that's the first marker. Manpreet, yes, but Manpreet is no longer eligible for us, right? He's played for Austria in the qualifiers, and that's the thing for me. So for me, Lakshmikant has to play longer. Yeah, he's come up and he has to still prove it. Ferreira, yeah, Krishna, I'm playing for Sao Paulo in Serie A. He is Indian descent through his paternal grandpa. That's just true. Krishna, I've said this a few days ago. I'm not sure if he's of Indian origin. Again, it's a topic of discussion if he is Indian origin or not, because someone has written in his Wikipedia, and a lot of people have gone gaga about it. I am careful when something like that is put out on social media. Therefore, let's wait and see. Can Ryan Williams have the same impact like Hamza? Oh, that's a good question. That's a very good question. And I will say, I think that Ryan will have his impact because I think Ryan Williams will be something in the dressing room. Ryan Williams will bring quality to this team. Can it change the mentality? Maybe, but Hamza Chaudhuri's impact is revolutionary to Bangladesh football. So therefore, for me, I don't know. Ryan Williams will be good, 100%. Ryan Williams will be good, but to me is can we change the overall, right? And will be interesting. That's what I'm saying. This transitional phase over the next 24 months will be very interesting to see. I think if we push people too fast, we will also break players, and that is something where we need to be careful. AIFF did many blunders. First, AFC host 27, draw MOU with Saudi. Second, FIFA World Cup co-host with Saudi 10 matches, and now it's half bottom. Hypermaster 2027, yeah, we can talk about it, right? That MOU with the Saudis, and then we opted out. Could be. Again, if we look at where we stand at the moment, maybe it might not be the worst thing. The co-host with Saudi Arabia, the 10 matches, was actually an idea which I had and which I presented to FIFA and even to some Saudi friends. So it is not something which was really on the table. So again, yes, sorry, I was the author of that idea. And in SAF, yeah, we're not bottom yet because we beat Bhutan the other day, 6-1. But again, bearing, I think, Bhutan and Maldives, we are no longer the best team in the South region, and sadly deserving so. I don't want to say that, but that's the reality. Hamza and Ryan position is different, so we can't compare. Krishna, it's not about comparing positions, it's about comparing impact on the team. And to me, and you say that in your second statement, Ryan Williams finishing Australian mentality, fast leg would be good for India. Exactly. So the mentality thing, we need a mentality shift. This team loses games when they go onto the pitch because they believe I can beat anyone or I can try to fight anyone. That is one of the things that is gone. That is something that even under Igor Stimac we had, right? Under Igor Stimac, we weren't the best, but we had that fighting spirit. I remember at SAF, after winning the SAF, long conversation with a few of the players, we gave it everything, right? So that's the reality. Our defense is still decent in my opinion, but attack is so bad. So attack improvement is needed. So Ryan is important, though. Will the coach allow him and assist him enough? Blue, the first question is, does the coach survive till March? There's no conversation about this, but I think that if there are changes within the All India Football Federation in the coming weeks and months, then we might see the XYZ change, right? So therefore, for me, there is a conversation to be had, and Ryan Williams, I think when he comes in, will also have a conversation with the coach. I think Ryan Williams will go to the coach and say, "Hey, coach, maybe we need to do this, maybe we need to do that." So therefore, I think so therefore, for me, Ryan coming in is very important because he adds something which we don't have, and that's quality, right? Ryan Williams coming in automatically is our best player, right? So, yeah. So I said, if it's true, maybe it can also be false that he's not Indian descent. It's true, he might be best player in South America or maybe in top 10 in Asia. Krishna, I don't know. Again, and that has been put out. No one who I know has been able to tell me. Even a friend of mine in Brazil, I've checked with him. So therefore, we'll have to wait and see. I think both India and Bangladesh are qualifying for AFC is a blessing in disguise, and now they have the time to build their team. You could. Do we do harakiri and change the whole team and try and build something, or do we something different? I think the other team which didn't make it, but I thought might be a little further on is Sri Lanka. Beaten by Thailand 4-0. So therefore, I think the South Asian sides need to regroup. They showed same mentality against Singapore in India, but again lost it. Blue, we showed a little bit of mentality in that match, and as I said, to me, that team tried their best, but we couldn't do anything. So yeah, Andre Lakshmikant is probably Hamza level as he plays in Estoril, which is in Portuguese Premier Division. Sadly, Manfred Sakaria can't represent us anymore as already play for Australia. Again, Andre Lakshmikant, Zoravar, what I'm saying is, look at Hamza's career over the last decade. Andre Lakshmikant has broken through last season. Give him a little bit more time. That's what I'm saying, that I think that Hamza is of a different level and the impact Hamza has already had on Bangladesh. I don't know if Andre Lakshmikant could come in and have that same impact as well. India is 17 starting with Palestine on Saturday. Yes, the AFC Under 17 Asian Cup qualifiers start on Saturday with India hosting the group in Ahmedabad. When will Apuya play for India again, or the shameless battle with Mohan Bagan will continue? Blue, good question. I don't know. Right? I think that is another question, that we don't have too many players, and if we don't play the best, we're even worse. Our defense is equally, if not more. Jingan and Baker is nailing his end. Anwar still defensively poor. Akash defensively shaky and looked out of touch. Yeah, but Arnav, the reality is, but how many chances did Bangladesh have? We're talking about Tuesday, right? So, yeah. So therefore, I would say, yeah. Can we build team if Kajimil AIFF says of football if they're serious? Krishna, theoretically, yes. But again, theoretically, practically, we'll have to wait and see. Our defensive midfield has no game IQ. McCartan is not an international player. We need a player. Oh no, but this is what I said. Again, McCartan has proven it again. And McCartan and Ayush Chitra are two players who I would like to see, play at international level. So therefore, for me, that's the sad part. And Apuya is our best player. So there is no question, if available, Apuya should be playing. Yes, Hamza is better, says Krishna. All your fears have come true. Frankly, I don't see light at the end of the tunnel. Ishan, again, as with a lot of things, I would rather be wrong. So therefore, the end of the tunnel. The problem is, you know what? The end of the tunnel is there, and we're going the other way. And the end of the tunnel, the light is. We are moving further away from the light than we should be getting closer to. That is, in my opinion, a big problem. Is Rodrigo from Birmingham an Indian mystery? Saw it on social media. No. Sadly, no young defender good enough to take old centre back's place. Yes and no. I think Bikash Jungnam is to me the one player that I think could be could be the player. Because if even Punjab FC don't play him, play Suresh Mite, then that to me means that the coach doesn't trust him that much. But I think Bikash Jungnam is, if you ask me about our younger defenders, is the one, and I thought he was the standout player for India. Again, everyone will go Mohamed Sohail. People will say, but to me, it is Bikash Jungnam who was the key player. And you saw that, I at least saw that in that Thailand game when you lost 4-0. Bikash Jungnam is not there. The team can't be held together defensively. The saddest part is if Mohammad Subhajan, etc. function properly, we shouldn't be in current position. At least would have chance to reach Asian Cup. Too many sabotages. Blue, very well summarized. Right? It is AIFF, Mohan Bagan, Subhajan, the other clubs. Yeah, the whole system. Overall, the quality of the game Bangladesh was so poor. There is a reason South is the worst region of world football. Ishan, sadly, yes. And in the last 20 minutes, a decent India would have at least gotten a draw. That for me is the worst observation from that game. Bangladesh, after 65 to 70 minutes, were physically finished, because they overpaced. And we still couldn't do. We still couldn't find that gap. Those players who came in, if Mohamed Sanan was as good as the people who said, Mohamed Sanan would have created something or something. They say, they created something for Bryson and all. It's like, that's not his chance creation, right? Because he did that first trick and the second trick, third trick, it didn't work. Is it true McCarthy 30-year-old? Then how did he play? I don't know. Zoravar, I don't even know who is under 23 and under 23. You look at some of the players who are supposedly 18, 19. Do they look 18, 19 to you? Or look at Kumar Thatal's picture today. He's supposedly 25. What I saw at Gokulam Kerala. Sorry, no. Apuya is least is good at least keeping the ball possession, one of the best midfielders in India, defensive midfielder. Yeah, Krishna, he is the only one. That's your problem. Bangladesh is now currently in contact with more foreign players from the next FIFA window, more than half the team will OCI players. I think Bangladesh have more than half, maybe the whole team. Bangladesh is really going for it. Defense good without Lord Ralbeke, maybe for me. I will choose both central backs who can play as a stopper and ball playing defender who can do both at deep lying midfielder to stabilize it. Goku, who's the alternative? I take your point, you know, right? Or who do you take? Again, Bika Shugnam is the one where I'd say, yeah. But otherwise, I don't see others. And those ball playing players, you know what? What was the system? Get the ball, whack it out. Just hope. Wish and hope. Someone ball come down, I touch, and someone will score. That was our hope, right? We were that poor. And that is to me the biggest concern if I look at that game. Right? And you have the capabilities to play football to be able. Meanwhile, I'm enjoying European qualifiers for the World Cup. Kane on fire, Rashford back at the best virtue and his quality. Ishan, the qualifiers were insane. Or Norway taking apart Italy. Who would have thought that? I think game time is the key for all the U23 players. On 100%. And how many of these under 23s were playing in the Super Cup for their clubs? You and I and we as fans can talk as much as we want. If the club coach doesn't give a chance to the players, who will? How many minutes did Abhishek Thekcham play? How many minutes did Pamvir play? How many minutes did the others play? Right? And this is, without match time, it won't work. By the way, do you agree Khalid's team selection is worse than Igor? Yeah, 100%. There's no logic, first of all. And second, okay, Mohun Bagan blocks the players from coming, but you still have 5 days in the window, so why don't you call them up? If you know your team is in, last time you did it, right? So, Anwar Lakshmikant, Prasyanda, and midfield with Shan Hundal, was up front, well, dream right now. I don't see this as your thing. I think you could have Shan Hundal up front, Ryan Williams, Yandanda on the wings, maybe Andre Lakshmikant. Maybe Andre Lakshmikant and Shan Hundal, and then Ryan Williams and Yandanda on the wings. That might work. Pamvir's been looking 22, 23 for the last 2 years, and he's 18. I have my doubts. There we come. So, Robert, it's fun engaging with Indian fan history. Indian people migrate to Brazil, and in one post, Rodrigo wearing Indian chappals and face all look like slightly Indian. Okay. If that's the reason, Krishna, yeah. Also, tactical blunders yet again. Man marking Hamza proved to be costly. Also, not allowing the side backs to overlap. Vikram was isolated up front. Ishan, the players are told stay back and hold. That's the problem. The problem is also that if you have a Vikram will give you energy, will fight and all that stuff. But if you're expecting him to do stuff, so this is the point. I will always say other than Hamza, other players are just average players, just like Indian players. If you don't score a goal, whose fault is it? Then fans are delusional. Is that fans are delusional? I would not say Hamza again. Shom, So Rana also played a very good game, I would say. Especially that midfield trio was the key to them, and Moselin with that goal also, right? So yeah, I meant defense is decent, can work well compared to midfield and attack. It's still functioning, which is big in football as well, lack basics. Yeah. Listen, the work of a defense is to clear the ball. The main job of a defensive setup unit is get the ball out. That's what they're doing. Lord Ralbeke in defense, Lord Deepak Tangri in midfield, Lord Rahim Ali in striker under team. Yeah, and this is, Krishna, this is with your the people with the Lord business and all. Ralbeke, I think, lost the Lord tag 2-3 years back. And yeah, he's not the fastest, this and that, everything. But hey, 2-3 situations, if he doesn't step in, we lose. Bangladesh Football Federation declared 2 crore bonus for the Bangladesh football team. Congratulations, they deserve it. As unhappy as I am, I would like always India to win. But Bangladesh were the better team. Simple. Frankly, I don't understand the change, the players' logic. The young ones are no better, and when they play senior level football, they will get bodied to train metaphorically. Ishan, tell that to the fans. Mohamed Sanan, people have been telling me was, it's yeah, and the substitutions make no sense. Nikhil Prabhu was your best defensive player. You take him off and you put McCarthan in that position. Changte was your, in my opinion, again, oh wow, what have people told me? Changte was your only real attacking outlet, right? And then the funny one is when I say, oh no, but McCarthan created that chance. Okay, McCarthan created that chance with Hamza Chaudhuri clears. But Changte has the technical ability to curl that ball the way he did. Tell me the other player who can do that. None of them. That's the reality. That's where he wants to understand the players and his capability and came up with the tactics. But no. Goku, he doesn't have any tactics. Stand deep and wish and hope. If you're going to tell me Khalid Jamil has a tactics, it's not happening, my friend. Also, like you mentioned, a lot of time a player spend in gym, they get bodied on the field by each and every single team. Yeah, but Ishan, they are spending time. Again, this is the funny one, So, yeah. I saw one call him Rodrigo Banerjee, and only he can save Indian football. Oh, God. He's played for Brazil, so why are we even talking about him? Even if he would be, he's not, worth the conversation. Arunava tweeted that overage is massive in Delhi. His kids got fractured and injured by playing against the age fraud team. Was India always had this age fraud mass? Yes, Renal, it has had. Did FIFA extend World Cup slots 48 to 64? If it happens, the math got corrected. 64 to 32, 61 to final two championship. New format math was confusing and weird. No, 64 is not a topic. Master. Hi, John Date. Any update on yourself? Uchud, at the moment, there isn't. Who is Andre Lakshmikant, sir? Which league? Plays at Estoril in Portugal. 25-year-old striker. With all the abuse Steven gets, he was the only system that worked at the highest level. No experiments, a well-drilled cohesive team. Yeah, Ishan. We have a few scapegoats in terms of the main fall guy. I thought he was the best from our team, linking, holding, pressing, making runs. We created nothing after his sub. Arnav, welcome to the club. Thank you. This is what I've been saying for a while. So my point is, if you play the system you're playing, you need someone who's going to fight it out there. And Rahim Ali, again, that boy has now 10 years of experience, juniors and seniors, ups and downs and highs and lows, and he was fighting. He was the only one who was able to body Hamza Chaudhuri, right? He pushed Hamza thrice out of the way. You have to work on this boy. I've said, I've been fighting for this? I've been saying Rahim Ali is the only one. So therefore, that's the reality. And I'll take this, but then I got ample criticism. He can actually be a number 9 going forward, if not who. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of sorry, Indian football fans. And I'm generalizing. A lot of people think they know and understand things. No, sorry guys, you don't understand football. It is much more complex. Even some of the coaches that I talked to, I said, guys, sorry, I don't need to be a coach, but I've seen enough football in India and outside to understand a little bit about the football and about the game. And I've seen this boy since the age of 14, 15. Right? That's what I always say, is that you have to see where these guys have come from, what they have done, what they've played. Right? And that is the reality. Yes, Estoril Portuguese Premier Division, 2 crores. Only an Indian player will make that much money in 1.5 seasons. No, focus. Some of them will make it in 9 months. Do you think any young forwards, Suhail, Sanan, would stand against Hamza? Rahim was constantly hounding him and surprising one of you. It's a huge feat. No. So first of all, you're naming Suhail and Sanan, they're not forwards, they're wingers. And look at, Suhail has a little bit of height on him. Mohamed Sanan doesn't even have that. And that's the other thing. Why are our players getting shorter and shorter? Our wingers are like, are we shrinking Indian footballers or something? Even in the women's game. I was watching the East Bengal players today. I'm thinking like, why are they so small compared to the Chinese? Right? It's 2 crores. I know, but again, I'm talking about the 2 crores in an Indian context. By the way, I didn't get why Brandon and Bryson weren't in this 11 special format. Bryson was in the squad, came on. What did Bryson do? Right? But Bryson also, if you're playing around those players at FC Goa, you will look better. Now you have to create yourself, and that's the problem for a young Bryson. We have seen Sanan like players from multi years now, Kumar, Raul, KP, Nintoy, Chunk is probably the only one who has done this talent some justice. And that's what I said. I go even further. I go Liston Colasso, I go Romeo Fernandez. The list goes on and on and on, Ishan. All of these boys. Chante is the only one where I would have said, you saw at 15, 16 when I first saw him in Mizoram. And then with the national team. That, yeah, there could be something. All these other ones are one, I would say. Beat man and then, yeah, run and then hope that once in a while a cross will work. Right? Or a shot maybe come on goal. Rahim had a solid game. Honest, can't fault him one bit. He fought very hard. One headers, held the ball, but he needs a secondary striker to develop a JJ Chetan partnership. Yeah, or a number 10 who is there to help him. Right? That was the problem in that system. If you've got McCarthan, who is, what was McCarthan trying to do? McCarthan was trying to move up and then trying to drop back, and then sometimes you had Suresh coming up. No, you need a proper one. Even Mahesh, when he came on, didn't look good. So this is the link play is very, very important. I think the biggest diaspora playing the football was in India, given he was into Wales, Danny Bath is second, followed by the rest. No, it is Vikash Dogaso, my friend. So Vikash Dogaso was part of a World Cup final team. He qualified France. He was the number 2 playmaker to Zinedine Zidane. There is no one bigger than Vikash Dogaso. No, sir, he has no relation with Indian. Rodrigo maybe is a sensible from India, just like Nicki Minaj. It's fun again from India. His grandfather, father. Again, doesn't matter. Some guys will come up saying David Bhatt, Google Vishnu should play over Rahim Ali. Yeah, blue, and that's the problem. And I've tried to discuss with people over the last 2 days, and it makes no sense. Yeah. Yes, very good catch. I can roll some boarding Hamza on 2 to 3 occasions. Yeah. East Bengal Indian player was looking so small against Chinese player in height. Yeah, Krishna. That's my whole point. We've got a physicality issue. Fans criticize Steven what kind of football he plays with national team, and fans thought there should be possession based, there should be short pass based. Later, fans found out our players cannot play like that. Steven knows it, but fans other ideas in their mind. Goku, fans, and it's not an Indian football thing. Fans hope, wish, think your team can play like this, your team can play like that, be it club sides, be it national teams. And then you have to wake up to reality and realize, oh, my team can't do this, my team can't do that. Right? I said this in 2017. There's still a video of me talking to Ankush of Super Football while we were walking in Mumbai, and we spoke about this. And I remember at the time, I got a lot of stick for saying what I said. And I stick to it. And I'm open. And again, guys, I would love Mohamed Sanan to prove me wrong and in 2 years be a good player. I will say, sorry, you know what? Yeah, he can do that. At the moment, he can't. Yeah. And that is the main thing. Kumar Thatta, unreal downfall. No, Krishna, it wasn't. Because he was hyped. During the Under-17 World Cup, they hyped him so much. Yeah. Mizo Flash. Yeah, Chante is. Ashik Kuronian can work better as attacking midfielder than McCarthy, and then you also ditch Brandon. Blue, listen, remember after the Singapore game how much hate Ashik Kuronian got? Where I said Ashik was able to hold up, and you're right. Ashik and Rahim Ali also with pace angle. One moves forward, one drops, one, might be. But my problem is also Brandon. Brandon has not played well. That's another problem. Another ISL has league made one mistake instead of investing in coach education and youth development, still building only the first team for ISL. No, Kumar. Again, Kumar, I've said this multiple times and I repeat myself. What is your focus of an ISL team? If I was building a team today, yeah, what would I do? Would I invest in something where I don't know if my league exists in 10 years? I remember I had this conversation at the start. Yeah. To me, as an ISL team, as a management, if I have extra money to spend on my youth development, on educating my coaches, brilliant. Otherwise, my focus is the first team. Because I don't know if we've got a team next year or not. So, yeah. Sorry, forgot his name. Focus in French. Yeah. Michael Chopra, Danny Bath, Yandanda, Umit Singh, Neil Taylor expressed desire for playing. They were accepting Yandanda all comes to retirement age. Yeah. Or have retired, right? Michael Chopra has retired. These some of players moving about given the situation they find themselves in. Ishan, I've had some communication. Some players have reached out, or some agents have also reached out to figure out what they can do. But I don't think they're serious about it, right? Because they are also looking at the financial aspect where say no one will give you the money that you expect. Even shorter players have an advantage. Our tall ones can't head, short ones can't dribble. Grassroots coach is doing. Or not? That is the question. There is no pool of players and also overseeing and managing clubs doing grassroots. No, Kumar. Kumar, I've tried to explain this to you multiple times, and again, you go on and on and on. Again, if you're managing a club, your focus is different. What happens to the future? A lot of these guys who are there for 2-3 years. I need to look at my 2-3 years. I don't look at what happens at the club in 10 years. For example, consider I stayed at Mumbai City for 6 months. I see certain things that I installed at Mumbai City in 2014. The after effects I saw in the last 2 years of what we did in 2014 in regard to a grassroots program. And I'm not even there. So I don't look at the long-term thing. I have to look at the short. Mid-term is even long. If you, again, reality is, if you like it or not, we are not in Europe. I'm not making profits and then I'm spending some of my profits on my youth and grassroots and on my infrastructure. I have a budget from my owner, and some of the owners, again, Mr. Goenka has clearly stated, I want first team. I don't care about infrastructure and grassroots. Right? Apte said that E4 entertainment has potential to be good. Do you believe in? Yes. Potential, Zoravar, potential. Will they fulfill that potential? That is the question that these boys will have to answer in the next decade. In hindsight, Apoy has turned out to be the smartest of the lot. He focused on his education. Maybe he's the one laughing now. Ishan, yeah. Heard a rumor that just is trying to propose a league organized by the clubs. What will not happen because the others, you know what, the clubs are not unified. That's the other thing. They're not unified. They're not working together. So, yes, sir, except you can't put all young players right to see national will give them exposure. Krishna, they need exposure at club level. They need a full season 2-3. Most of these, and now we don't even have a season. You know what it means for these players? They're going to miss those minutes. Amal Muslim, the women's cricket coach, what inspiration, innovation plans, try hard work, win World Cup recent. Likewise, when you should have Khalid as catalyst. Narendra, not happening. Another huge age scam happening in the AIFF Academy. I have seen players there who can easily 20 playing U17, who scouts, who recruits, nobody knows, and they knows who other academies. Yeah, because see, we've had this topic recently when I don't know if you've seen the videos of Ashish Negi coming to Germany for that Bundesliga Dreams project with those kids, right? Last year, the kids who were scouted were not even brought, right? So that this is happens, right? I'm sure that there are players in that academy who've not been scouted. Look at the whole scandal around Delhi State, sub-junior team where you bring in 2 players who are overage and the AIFF says, hey, just keep them in the squad. Don't play them, but keep them in the squad. Don't bother about it. This is the problem in our country at the moment. Ashik Kurunian speed is biggest advantage speed here after Chante. Very true. I don't think so. Players nowadays at young age, like 15 or 7, have better height than average Indian height. That was in the past. I see some of the players at the age of 17, 6 foot. Gugu, yeah, more than women serious nutrition deficient don't have proper muscle growth. Okay. Another thing is the style or anti-football, whatever you want to call it. It's basically disability of the existing players to even, if someone can play good, will not get the support. Very true, Blue. Very, very true, and very, very difficult at the moment, right? Unfortunately, missing football, hockey culture in Delhi capital city, says Narendra. Okay. Sir, Indian football team ke अच्छे दिन कब आएंगे? Oh, Narendra, I put out a tweet. Was it earlier today or was it yesterday? Last night. And I said, we as Indian football fans will most likely have to live in the reality that our men's national team will take time to bring us joy once again. I hope the journey doesn't go further down. right? That is my fear. I might be wrong, but that's my fear that I see and that I am at least at the moment very, very worried about. Heard that Ryan's wife, Kate Alicia Holmes, played a big role in convincing him to take up Indian passport as well. Zorawar, again, there are multiple people, despite her being Australian herself. Listen, Zorawar, there are multiple people, right? She will surely have and again, he will have talked to his wife. And if the wife said, "Man, no, don't do it," maybe he might have not done it. Again, Sunil has been a big factor. JSW, Pat Jindal, all these guys have been a big factor. So, yeah. Senior players should take retirement like King, Virat Kohli, Hitman, Rohit Sharma have done cricket to give chance to younger deserving players. Narendra, where are your deserving younger players? This logic, again, do not, I always request you guys, don't bring cricket examples into our football. It doesn't work. It does not work. Cricket is a totally different sport. How did Ryan Williams how did the Ryan Williams situation play out? Did he surrender his passport or was he neutral? Of course, he had to, Ishan, he had to his Australian passport had to be handed in, right? So that's the thing, right? He had to hand his passport in and then he got an Indian one. So now Ryan Williams is a full Desi. Indian football team should play lots of friendly international matches like a champion cricket team playing throughout the year. Narendra, not happening. Again, please do not compare football with cricket or any other sports. Football has windows. You've got your March window, your September, October window, your November window, your June window. That's the max you can play, right? If Ryan Williams' son choose football, it would be good for India if he becomes good football. Lair, if he choose. Yeah, Krishna, let's wait and see. Oh, now when you don't produce quality players, how is your league will improve as a product? Also, wage inflation. Kumar, no one's thinking about it because my priority are not the Indians. My priority is let me get a set of 6 good foreigners, and then that will work. You are thinking from a wrong aspect. You're thinking from a development aspect. These guys are thinking of having success on the field. My Indian players, again, yes, I'm spending more, but my Indian players are not the deciding factor. If I have, again, Khalid Jamil, best example, the success last season of Jamshedpur FC were, and I saw this live when I saw them against Punjab FC in Delhi. Javier Nandes up front, Stephen Eza at the back. Also, we had the scandal where players being forced to team due to him. Yes, yeah, Zorawar, I said that. That was the Delhi sub-junior team scandal. Modi ji sabka saath, sabka vikas, but posing a Premier League but can't look into Indian football condition. Krishna, the Prime Minister has been in contact with football in the UK or here when Keir Starmer was here or even earlier Prime Ministers. He was in contact with football in Spain, football in contact in Portugal, here in Germany, in Brazil, in Argentina, and I don't know how many countries. But again, sadly, it's not the sports, right? We want JDT type owners. Ruku, yeah, maybe that could help. Rich BCCI President Sharma should help. If you drink to coffee. Listen, forget 2030. Narendra, 2030 and Jay Sharma, not Sharma, Jay Shah, BCCI has other problems. Which Indian World Cup nahi jeeta acha hota. Yeah, ABCD, I don't know. Yeah. Why should a cricket body have Indian football? Again, Goku, that's the question. I still don't understand why. I mean, yeah. Supreme still hearing the AIFF case. Can't they just let us breathe? Why they have to check it? Blue, they don't want to. They want to get rid of it, but they're not able to get rid of it. That's the weird part now, right? Ryman have shot himself in the foot with the ISL not happening in India or qualifying Asia. No, Ishan, I don't think so. If he wants to, he can still go back to Asia, to Australia. If you want to play a World Cup or come under top 50 rank, then you have to change the hierarchy. The officials, the manager, from 0 level. It's like the pyramid change from top to bottom. Yeah, Bolo. From top to bottom or bottom to top. Yeah. Thoughts on Igor's team match? ABCD. Igor's team match is also at fault for the national team being in the state it is. K6 is Stephen. So much role. Yeah, Stephen. As a Indian Super League football should be 2-month format. Why? Why? The ISL was going, in my opinion, in the right direction, being a longer league. And now we will most probably walk it back. I don't know what will happen. Any update, Anjay Captain visiting India? He's coming in December, but more I can't tell you on that. Thing is, AIFF is seen as a platform for the insignificant politician to boost their political career. Mohini club with 6 foreigners spending so much money but can't win against 3-4 club. Okay, Krishna. Oh, I thought China passport was a one-time decision. No, Ishan, why? He could theoretically become an Aussie again, right? Even if Kalyan Chawla goes, another Kalyan Chawla will come. Zoravar, I don't know if that will happen. But the point is, at the moment, is we are in a state where we need to figure out what's the next step. Now, India will win the World Cup 30 to 47, not in 2047. India is not winning any World Cup anytime soon, even in 2037. 30, 47, I don't know. They can just say it's not under the discretion to state what type of bid they have to make and give them free handling. Is it hard? Yes, Blue, it seems to be hard. If they want to get rid of Indian football, why did the Supreme Court intervene in football matters? Good question. Chances East Bengal becomes higher. Oh, yes. I mean, this. Let's talk about positive things, right? In this group, with the results today, East Bengal only losing 2-0 to Wuhan Jiangda, where I'll be honest, I thought after 17 minutes, after the penalties, like, ooh, this could be a 5-6-0, but East Bengal did well, especially the backline, Opoku and Sweetie. Sweetie, why is Sweetie Devi not part of the international team? A question that Crispin Chetri, in my opinion, should answer. And then Nasaf losing to Bam Khatun, Sara Didar scoring the only goal of the match. And suddenly, at the moment, Wuhan Jiangda top with 4 points. East Bengal second with 3 points, 0. 3 to 3 goals. 3 scored, 3 conceded. Bam Khatun, 2 scored, 3 conceded, so -1. And Nasaf, 1 to 2, -1 with 1 point. So if East Bengal get a draw against Nasaf, they finish second. And if they win, who knows what is possible in this. So it's a crazy situation in this group now. We need elections. Theoretically Nixon, but nothing happening anytime soon. I've been following Indian football 25 years. I haven't seen any change, any words of motivation to keep my support going. Dr. Mesh, I understand where you're coming from. I've been closely following Indian football for the last 27, 28 years. And things have, gotten worse rather than better. That's the brutal part of things. But my request to everyone is never stop supporting Indian football. I know as bad as things is it's never stop supporting and also questioning things. I think that's very, very important. But question it the right way, right? Understand things. I can smell another FIFA ban coming. ABCD, then you're the only one. I don't see a ban coming. We Delhi football fans, one legend, World Cup Northeast playing at Scarabas in Jawahar Nehru Stadium. Okay. I don't think so, Krishna. Is the Bundesliga thing a promotion thing for the Indian market? Remember Ashish Negi interviewed Nikhil Adam in Germany a few months back as well. Yes, it is. It is part of the Bundesliga Dreams project, and that's a promo. Kalyan, there's no win again. Not a chance at the moment, but you never know. Should they have a short-term focus on the women's team given the lack of funds we have? No. Your problem is that even in the women's game, the AIFF is unable to do the right things. They spoke, we will do this, we will do that. And where are we? Where is the IWA? Where are the exposure matches in the sense of extended camps? I said 30, 47 because we are not alive on this planet. Who knows, Kumar? Maybe there's technology, medicine, and we'll get us old to be alive. Given Ryan is Indian right now, hope his son decides to play for India. Yeah, let's see. So finally, I see you next time when India qualifies Asian Cup or World Cup. Till then, good luck in the full national giant. Bolo, support it. Support it. You will see it from Indian football and cricket mixing them both, says Kuku. Whoever comes up with this constitution thing for Indian football has only been downhill from there. Yeah. Thank you. Good night. Yes, I hope that as well, Blue. Osprey defense, no straight phone that was going. Listen, Narendra, we don't have the quality. Thank you. I don't think my support will ever go, but sometimes it's tough. Yeah, it's very tough. Day before yesterday, I was thinking after 50, honestly, the first time I've ever actually thought about this. Let me tell you this, Dr. Mesh. Everybody was listening. I was on the verge of saying, you know what, I'm done with this life. I was in London. I actually took out time. I was in meetings. I went back to my hotel room, set it up, did the live watch along. And I was thinking, should I actually stop? Because it was difficult. It was very, very difficult to watch that game and the way we played, right? At this point, the AIFF needs to lock their house in Delhi and close the doors to Indian football chapter altogether. It's better to not work than work like this. I hope not, Simon. I think it needs to survive. Yes, I think Indian football, like it is my neighborhood club. Win or loss, I keep supporting. Exactly, Ishan. That's the way I felt at this point. Yeah, I agree. Can we see Ryan and Sunil together once in a football team playing against? Ooh, Nishan, I would love that, but I don't see Sunil. Maybe a Sunil farewell match, but otherwise, I don't see it. Thank you, sir. We'll never stop supporting. Sometimes it's hard. Can't India look at countries and so start with a football structure along those lines. Dr. Mesh, we need to build our own structure. We can look at models, this, that, everything. Indian football needs its own model. Let's say what next what verdict. I don't know, Krishna, what they're gonna do. Honestly. We see AI play a big role in football, like in refereeing. It could be Zoravar. Yeah, but AI, yeah, let's see. We have a panel was where we can. This is success in China, USA, third world class countries, and San Marino probably can't world champion. Oops. On a player. Yes, Zoravar, technology is taking a bigger part in football anyway. So yeah. So that is the thing. Oh, you were in London and based in London, would have been nice to have met. Yes, I was. Tuesday, Wednesday, I was actually on work. Came back yesterday afternoon, so actually a few meetings in London. Yeah. Do you see City Football Group pulling out from City FC and Indian football? Hope they don't exit for work. Ishan, that's a likelihood. It's a lot of people will shut shop if things are not sorted very soon. I have never stopped supporting Info. Maybe God will give us joy in coming decade. Krishna, exactly. Please organize get together Indian football team fans with bloggers and journalists soon. Narendra, as I've said, you've said this in the past. Not happening. Again, they did the fan ball meet in Mumbai recently, and he's going to approach Prime Minister for a solution. I think what is going to happen? He's been going to said Nitu Das said, let's go to the BCCI. Did the BCCI even react? I think he went to someone, right? It is more important to focus on for Asian Games with 3 seniors like Ryan Gopet and one will be Nishant. Let them focus on Asian Games. My focus is on 2027 for the AFC Under 23 Asian Cup qualifiers. That's more important. That's more serious. But yeah, if you had a person with 10% of passion like you for Indian football, as ever present in India would be a superpower in football. Thanks, Arunava. If you're putting so much faith in me, see, I do the things I do. That's the problem. I try and do, but yeah, over 2 hours. Slowly, let me come to an end. Yeah, Sam says that India only won the last 7 matches was Bangladesh. Yeah, it's also true. Good night, Zoravar. Sir, about the good question. Midfield strikers, as you know, are the weakest among all weak points. Now would Bomos, Greg, Jaho, and Morris have fared out just thought. Block, we would be a different team. Yeah. So therefore, yeah. So if you had those guys, who would be playing Asian Cup? India beat Bangladesh. Yeah, nothing. That was in 2021 in that bubble. Yeah, nothing, Nishant. Most probably in March. You can't qualify for Senior World Cup unless 23 qualifies for World Cup, and not when it comes to U20. Come for World Cup. Same goes for Asia Cup as well. There is no U23 World Cup, Bablu. So yeah. So with that, I end this live. Thanks a lot for joining in. Not easy, always to talk Indian football, but I will still try and continue that. As I always say, like, share, and subscribe. Arunfoot here on YouTube. Watch my shorter videos, hype the videos. I need your support as always, and thanks for that as always. So thanks a lot. So let's keep on growing the community, and I'll be back with another live tomorrow night. Saturday, I'm looking to do a live watch along of the Under 17. So hope those boys can perform against Palestine. Sunday, I'll do a live of East Bengal versus Nasaf, the decider. Hopefully, East Bengal reach the quarterfinals, and keep supporting Indian football. And Nishant, I'll take your question. Any update about Super Cup which competition will play? Nishant, the question is, if we don't have a league, will the AFC allow us to play next season or not? Next season, normally they would play the qualifiers of ACL2. And therefore, let's wait and see. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll speak to you soon. Good night.